Imagine for a moment that your life is already everything you've ever desired, that every door opens with ease, that every opportunity bends to your favor, and that circumstances mysteriously align to fulfill your deepest hopes. This is not a fantasy. This is a law, one governed by consciousness. You see, the world does not respond to what you want. It responds to what you are conscious of being. To act as if you are the luckiest person in the world is to assume that the universe itself conspires for your good. Not because of chance, not because of external validation, but because you have chosen to dwell in the feeling of being favored. When you walk into a room, you must do so with the inner conviction that something wonderful awaits you. And it will. Everything begins with a state. A state is not something outside of you. It is an inner condition, a vibration, a self-concept. The moment you shift your state, the outer world rearranges itself accordingly. So what does it mean to act as if? It means to inwardly accept a reality before there is any evidence of it. You speak from it, you think from it, you live from it. You do not beg for luck, you embody it. You may say, "But I don't see any signs. How can I believe when everything looks the same?" And I tell you, that is precisely when you must persist. The seed must be planted in the unseen soil of imagination before it sprouts into visible form. To act as if you are the luckiest person alive is to trust the invisible more than the visible. You become unmoved by appearances and completely absorbed by the truth that what you feel as real will become real. When you assume that life is always working out for you, you begin to feel relaxed in the face of uncertainty. People start to treat you differently, not because they have changed, but because your inner self has changed. The world is a mirror. When you believe you are fortunate, blessed, chosen, then so it is. You must choose the feeling over the fact. You must favor the vision over the visible. Feel lucky now, not later. Speak blessings over your life. Wake up and say, "Today, everything flows in my favor." Say it with the conviction of one who knows. And soon, life will mirror it back to you. Do not wait for evidence to feel it, and the evidence will come. Act as if you are the luckiest person in the world, because you are the moment you decide you are. To be lucky, you must feel lucky. Before there is any external validation, before a single sign points to your favor, before the world offers you any reason to believe it. This is the key, the secret held within the very structure of consciousness. You must assume the feeling of luck not because something has happened, but so that something will happen. The feeling comes first. The evidence follows. Most people wait for a shift in their circumstances to feel fortunate. But those who understand the creative power of imagination know it works the other way around. Imagination must come first, because it is the womb of reality. Everything that exists, every fortune, every coincidence, every so-called miracle, was once just an unseen idea clothed in feeling. When you imagine vividly, with faith and emotional certainty, you are planting a seed in the fertile ground of your subconscious. And like any seed, it grows according to its nature. If the feeling is one of luck, ease, divine favor, then the outer world will eventually express that nature. But the feeling must be accepted as real before it can take shape. The challenge, then, is not in forcing the world to cooperate. It is in convincing your own inner self to accept a new state of being. To assume the feeling of luck is to walk through life as if you carry a hidden light within you. One that draws the right people, the right opportunities, and the right timing. This is not arrogance, and it is not delusion. It is inner certainty. A calm, unshakable conviction that things are always working in your favor. It is to live with the awareness that every step you take is supported by unseen forces. Even when something appears to go wrong, you hold to the inner knowing that it is simply a hidden blessing in disguise. The world responds to this inner confidence not because it is trying to reward you, but because it is you projecting your belief into the canvas of experience. Feeling lucky means you don't dwell in doubt. You don't rehearse worst-case scenarios. You don't question whether you deserve good things. You simply know on a deep, intuitive level that life bends to your belief, and so you act accordingly. You speak with gratitude for things not yet seen. You carry yourself with the poise of someone who is loved by the universe. You greet each day not with dread, but with a quiet anticipation of good surprises. The world then reflects your tone. It matches your mood. It imitates your inner atmosphere. The real work is internal. It requires you to feel lucky when nothing seems to be working. It asks you to sit in silence and generate the sensation of things going your way, even as the evidence seems to contradict you. This is not denial, it is creation. It is understanding that feeling is the substance from which your future is molded. When you can close your eyes and enter the emotional reality of already being lucky, of having the right breaks, the right timing, the right answers, you are setting the stage for its outer expression. Do not wait for life to give you a reason to feel fortunate. Become the cause of that feeling, and life will echo it back to you. Let imagination guide you. Let it fill your mind with the mood of certainty. Live as though you are guided, chosen, blessed. As you maintain that feeling, it will crystallize into experience. The world is not random, it is a mirror. And when you assume the feeling of luck, you are not faking, it is faithing. And faith, sustained, becomes fact. Luck is not some mysterious force that visits a few chosen individuals while ignoring the rest. It is not a cosmic accident or a roll of dice determined by fate. Rather, it is a state of consciousness, a psychological atmosphere, a self-selected point of view that you can deliberately enter and dwell in. This is the deeper truth that many overlook. You are not at the mercy of luck. You are the generator of it, the initiator of its movement into your life. Your state of being is not fixed. It is fluid, dynamic, and fully under your control. You can choose to be in a state of lack or a state of abundance. You can live from a state of struggle or a state of grace. The choice is always yours, and luck, like every other condition of life, responds to that inner choice. States are not just moods or fleeting emotions. They are comprehensive mental positions, combinations of beliefs, assumptions, and feelings from which you think, act, and react. When you adopt a state, everything you perceive flows through the lens of that state. In a state of luck, you expect favorable outcomes. You carry an inner knowing that things are lining up in your favor, even if the outer world hasn't yet caught up. You don't wait to be proven right. You live as though you are. In this way, you condition your subconscious mind to accept luck as your natural companion. Most people allow their state to be chosen for them by the external world. A missed opportunity, a setback, a discouraging word from someone else, and instantly their state shifts to one of defeat, scarcity, or self-doubt. But you are not meant to be reactive. You are meant to be creative. You are meant to select your state deliberately and occupy it persistently, regardless of what the outer world is currently reflecting. Because here is the paradox. The outer world reflects the inner state, not the other way around. To change what you experience, you must first change what you are being. This is not about pretending or forcing a false optimism. It is about tuning your inner awareness to a frequency that matches the life you desire. Choosing a state is not effortful, it is intentional. It is a quiet decision made in imagination. When you declare inwardly, I am a person to whom good things naturally flow, you are not just making a wish, you are selecting a state. And when that declaration is backed by feeling, when it moves from mere thought to deep conviction, it begins to shape your reality. You don't need external permission to feel lucky. You don't need a sign, a coincidence, or a special day. All you need is the willingness to enter into the feeling of that luck and to claim it as your natural state. What follows is not magic, it is law. You will begin to notice synchronicities, effortless connections, opportunities arriving seemingly out of nowhere. But they are not random. They are drawn to the frequency you now embody. Every day you are presented with countless opportunities to shift your state. A new thought, a new assumption, a different reaction to an old problem. All of these are openings through which you can move into a higher experience. And when you find the state of being that feels aligned, life begins to feel fluid, harmonious, even lucky. You are not stuck, you are not a victim of chance. The power to live as a fortunate person lies within you now. Choose the state, sustain it. Return to it when you stray. And eventually, the world will rise to meet the reality you've chosen to be. There is immense power in the way you speak, not just to others, but to yourself. Your words are not just sounds, they are creative forces that shape your inner world and by reflection your outer experience. When you speak as one who knows, you align your consciousness with certainty, with completion, with the reality of what you desire as already fulfilled. This is not mere positive thinking. It is not surface level optimism. It is the deliberate use of language to stabilize your inner state and to claim dominion over your world. The person who speaks as one who knows does not beg, wish, or plead. They do not say, I hope it works out, or maybe I'll be lucky today. They say, things are always working out for me, or I am always in the right place at the right time. They speak from the end, not toward it. Their words match the feeling of the wish fulfilled, and in doing so, those words take on the texture of reality. Your inner dialogue, what you whisper to yourself in moments of silence, sets the tone for your entire life. If you walk through your day silently saying, I'm not good enough, this probably won't work, nothing ever goes right for me, then you are constantly reinforcing a state of limitation and misfortune. The universe, being a mirror, simply reflects that tone back to you. But if you shift the inner conversation, if you begin to affirm that you are guided, blessed, chosen, and lucky, you will start to witness a change, not just in your mood, but in your outcomes. To speak as one who knows is to claim your identity in advance. You don't wait for evidence to declare it. You declare it, and then the evidence begins to appear. You don't say, I hope I'll be successful someday. You say, success is who I am. You don't say, maybe things will turn around. You say, things are turning in my favor now. These statements are not lies, they are seeds. Spoken with conviction, they take root in the subconscious mind and begin to grow into actual experiences. It is easy to speak from doubt. It is common to echo the language of fear and worry. But transformation comes when you choose a higher tone. When your words carry the vibration of certainty, they activate a different energy in you. That energy influences your posture, your decisions, your expectations, and ultimately your reality. People respond to that tone. It is not because the world has changed. It is because you have changed the way you speak and the state from which you speak. Every time you affirm that you are in the right place at the right time, you bring yourself into alignment with divine timing. You become sensitive to signs, open to guidance, and resilient in the face of delay. You no longer see missed chances, you see redirection. You no longer feel like life is against you. You recognize that life is orchestrating something better than you imagined. And the more you affirm this, the more you begin to feel it. And as you feel it, you begin to live it. The shift becomes visible. Let your words reflect who you choose to be, not what you fear you are. Let your inner dialogue be filled with declarations of purpose, power, and peace. You don't need to shout. You don't need to convince anyone else. But you must convince yourself. Speak from the end. Speak as if the answer has already come. Speak with the tone of one who knows they are supported, guided, and divinely favored. Your world will not be able to resist responding in kind. There comes a moment in every life when the power of decision reveals itself as the turning point. A quiet, internal choice that shifts everything, not because the world immediately changes, but because you do. Decision is not a reaction to circumstances. It is a command issued from the center of your being. And in the case of becoming the luckiest person in the world, it begins with a single, unwavering decision. I am lucky. Life favors me. Everything is working for my good. This decision is not based on past evidence or the current state of things. It is not something you earn. It is not granted by fortune or karma or chance. It is chosen. And in the act of choosing, you step into a new state of consciousness, a new identity. That is where all transformation begins. Nothing happens until you decide, but once you do, once you commit to the feeling of being blessed, guided, and favored, life begins to rearrange itself around your new self-concept. Many wait for change to arrive before they give themselves permission to feel different. They say, I'll feel lucky when something lucky happens to me. But this is a misunderstanding of how reality is shaped. Waiting is passive. Decision is creative. When you wait, you are declaring that you are not in control. When you decide, you claim authorship of your experience. That choice, made consciously and with feeling, carries the energy of command. It sends a clear instruction to your subconscious mind and to the field of reality. This is who I am now. The decision is not about forcing the world to comply. It's about entering the world from a new vibration. You begin to see yourself differently. You speak differently. You walk through life expecting good, anticipating beauty, prepared to receive. And that inner shift naturally alters your perception. You become more aware of opportunities. You attract people and events that reflect your inner tone. You respond to difficulties with resilience rather than defeat. Why? Because you have decided that you are lucky. And so, even your challenges must serve you. This is the great secret. Decision alters perception, and perception alters reality. Once you identify as someone to whom good things happen, you begin to interpret the world through that lens. An unexpected detour becomes divine timing. A delay becomes protection. A closed door becomes redirection. You are no longer a victim of randomness. You are a participant in a deeper orchestration, one that bends to the authority of your assumption. The decision itself does not require a loud declaration. It does not need applause or recognition. It is a silent, powerful shift that takes place in the heart. A moment of inner agreement that says, I no longer align with struggle. I no longer identify with misfortune. I choose to live as one who is favored by life. And when you return to that decision daily, it begins to harden into fact. You may have been told that life happens to you, but once you realize that life happens through you, everything changes. Decision is the doorway. It is the ignition key. It turns potential into motion. Until you decide, your desire remains a concept. But the moment you choose, the moment you become, reality begins to move. New people appear. Unexpected blessings arise. Synchronicities increase. Why? Because you have finally said yes to a higher version of yourself. It is not that you become lucky because of one big event. You become lucky because you repeatedly choose to identify as lucky in small, quiet moments. When you wake up in the morning, you decide again. When you face a challenge, you decide again. When you feel doubt creeping in, you decide again. That consistent decision builds a new identity, and that identity shapes a new world. Most people never make the decision. They wait. They hope. They dabble in change without ever fully claiming it. But those who dare to choose, even in the absence of evidence, are the ones who shift the course of their lives. Decision does not mean you have all the answers. It simply means you've chosen your direction. And once you choose, all that you need begins to align with that choice. There is no power in indecision. There is no momentum in maybe. But the moment you say, I am lucky, I am chosen, I am guided, and mean it with your whole heart, something moves. Something deep inside you begins to organize itself around that belief. And your world, being nothing more than a mirror of your self-concept, must follow. You don't wait to become the luckiest person in the world. You decide you are. And that decision, that simple but profound act of inner certainty, is what calls the evidence into form. Reality responds to clarity. It follows intention. And decision is the purest form of intention. So choose now, not with desperation, but with conviction. And the life that once seemed distant will begin to unfold at your feet.